I've drawn up some blueprints of the different panels I need to make individually before I sew the entire bag together. Here I've got the front and sides of the backpack. This would be the back and bottom, and this would be the sort of interior divider that would create the sort of interior pockets that I need to build. I drew everything in half scale, meaning for every ½ inch on paper you got 1 inch of actual material. This makes it real easy to scale up and cut my actual materials later. I can also make sure that all the different features of the bag fit together before any actual sewing begins. The first panel I'm going to work on is going to be the interior divider. I bought some orange 500 denier Cordura, and that's going to make up the interior of the bag. And being orange, it'll make it a lot easier to see inside the bag and see what's in there. My first step was, after cutting this initial piece of material, I cut off a piece off the top that was about 2 3/8 of an inch and installed a zipper in between the two pieces of material. This time around I decided to use grosgrain ribbon. I've got some ½ inch grosgrain ribbon that I just folded around the zipper and the actual material just to cover that raw edge of the Cordura. The stitching on the zipper didn't turn out as great as I hoped. My machine kept jamming, but it'll be okay. The next part of the project is going to be to create an interior mesh pocket, and I'm going to install that just below this zipper here. I've got all the different materials cut already. I got some 2 pieces of mesh, number 5 coil zipper, and I've got 2 different sizes of grosgrain ribbon. I've got 3/4 and I've also got ½ inch. This ½ inch is basically going to be installed where the zipper is sewn to the mesh, just like I did on the back of this zipper here. And the 3/4 inch grosgrain ribbon is going to be folded along the bottom and top of the mesh, and that grosgrain ribbon is then going to be sewn to the orange Cordura. I've attached this smaller piece of mesh to the zipper already using some double-sided basting tape. I generally don't use the basting tape if I don't have to, but working with mesh is a little bit trickier than Cordura, so I decided to use it now. I realized that the basting tape is actually exposed through the mesh, and actually makes it real easy to fold the grosgrain ribbon around the mesh and the zipper and hold it in place with the basting tape. So I'm going to put all 3 pieces of material together and then sew it all together at once. That's not what I usually do, but seeing as how the basting tape is actually exposed through the mesh, it actually makes it real easy. To give an update on my progress, I took a piece of zipper tape, this is number 5 coil zipper, and I put double-sided basting tape on the front face on both edges, and then I attached a piece of mesh to each side, and then I sandwiched ½ inch grosgrain ribbon around the zipper tape and the mesh, sewed a seam, folded the mesh back, sewed another seam. I did that on both sides for both pieces of this mesh. I then put 2 bar tacks on either side of the zipper tape to keep the slider from coming off once I was done installing that. And then I sandwiched some 3/4 inch grosgrain ribbon. I folded it over the edges of both pieces of mesh and then sewed a seam along each one of those. Next, I'm going to attach this mesh pocket to this interior divider here, and I'm basically just going to run another seam along both pieces of grosgrain ribbon. And the edges of the mesh are going to disappear into the seam when the front and back portions of the backpack are sewn together. This is going to disappear into the seam, and that's how that's going to stay closed.